Hi, Gemini. It's so funny. For some reason, right before I turned on the camera, I was thinking about all the Geminis I know that can't stand me. And it's like just weird to me because I'm such a Gemini and Geminis always get along with me. But then there's this like strange little subset. We are, for the most part, so creative, so intuitive, really our own people. As last month's video and your response to it, I love you guys. Thank you for taking these journeys with me. They mean so much to me that you just like come along with me and you're like, yeah, I get it. Like, I'm feeling that way too. I really don't feel that open with anyone except you guys. So it's interesting that, everyone has that reverse. I've really been harsh with the devolved Aquarian, the devolved Virgo, to a certain extent. That one time, the devolved Scorpio, and they hated it. The comments on that video were probably the meanest I've ever gotten. And they love me the most. Says a lot about Scorpios. But do we ever talk about the devolved Gemini? Not really. I'm at fault there, I think, for sure. But like any sign, and us most of all, we understand the dark and the light. With us, the devolved version of us is just as much out in the open as the evolved version. And so a lot of times I don't feel the need to directly address it because I feel when I'm addressing you, I'm addressing all of you. And it is that wholeness, the singularity behind the duality, that makes us so wonderful. But there is a small subset of Geminis out there who have not quite figured out the singularity part and are still very much living in the duality and have issues when it comes to image, self-image, body image, success, what it means to be in a relationship, what it means to be loved, what it means to be beautiful. And whenever I encounter Geminis that have struggles in those aspects, as do I, as does everybody, and they have not figured out quite how to learn from it and are still stuck in the why of it. Why has this happened to me? Or why is this hard for me? Or why am I not like this instead? Those particular small subset of Geminis have a tendency to really find me annoying, or, they just really dislike me. There are stronger words here that they hate me. They do. It's weird because you're like watching, so hi. But, what are you supposed to say? Like, hello. Yeah. From both of us, hello. I don't know. And so how does that tie into what I'm going to talk about? Well, when we talk about the evolved and devolved versions of ourselves, and that's going to be really highlighted in April because of the opportunities that are coming up for us. When we talk about that, we're talking about the two twins, right? And I watched something the other night that I was like, whoa, two twins. Oh my God, this is perfect. This is amazing. And so there is this movie called Casino. If you have not seen it, please watch it. If you have seen it and you are like jumping up and down and screaming right now, I am there with you. I know practically every word to that movie. It's one of my faves. And what the fuck are you doing on TV anyway? Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone. It is a classic. It is amazing. It is like one of the gangster movies. I'm a big gangster movie person. Gemini, of course, robbing bank. Yeah, why not? Sure. Fuck the system. And in the movie, there is this character that he meets and falls in love with instantly, and that is played by Sharon Stone. And she is played by Sharon Stone. And Sharon Stone's character is a great archetypal version of, you know, the Gemini twin duality. She's playing it out so perfectly. And I'm like watching it, you know, and within the first 5 minutes of meeting her in the film, they lay it out. And you're like, that's how we are? Yeah, that is how we are, you know. And although it was really difficult to take, because I'll get into it. And for those of you who've seen the movie, you're like, oh, damn, no, I know where she's about to go with this. Yeah, it's not easy. I'm going to try to make it as painless as possible. I'm the nice doctor, you know, the one that gives you like the lollipop or whatever. And it's like, hey, look over there. But it's, you know, quite troubling. So in the movie, there is this character played by Sharon Stone called Ginger. And Ginger is gorgeous and personable and knows how to work a room. And she's smart and sharp and, you know, just all the things. She's just so in control. She's captivating. She's stunning. When people around her, they say things they don't want to say. They do things they don't want to do. She's very compelling. She's just like a stunner, you know. And this very powerful, very dedicated, stable sort of, you know, got his head on his shoulders, very Virgo sort of personality, very good with numbers, falls in love with her. He falls in love with her as she's scamming a guy out of his chips, and then takes the chips when she gets called out on what she's done, takes the chips and throws them all over the casino, causing, you know, like mayhem as people dive for the money. And of course, that is when he falls in love with her. That's the moment. It's very well done in the movie. Like, they play this song and he's just like, and she feels him fall in love with her. She's like, uh-huh. And she like kind of laughs and walks away because she's like, yeah, I got you. You ever done that as a Gemini where you act like totally nuts and like you really don't care and you see someone across the room who's just like, and you're like, yeah, I got you, because I'm just being myself. Like, so in the movie, that happens and they meet and they get married and whatever. But the thing about Ginger is that even though she's this superwoman and she's got everything figured out and everyone figured out, that's the really, you know, interesting thing. She's very smart. She's everyone figured out. She knows exactly how to talk to people, what to say, who to give to what, who to bribe, who not to bribe, who to talk to. Like, just, she knows how to work one of the most human and complex systems on Earth, that being Vegas. And yet, there is this man named Lester motherfucking Diamond. Say it with me. If you're like a casino fan, you're like, oh, this bitch is doing it. No. Yes. Yes. Lester Diamond. So, Lester Diamond is Ginger's like old pimp, I guess, or something. She refers to him at one point as, I've known him since I was a kid. I have a feeling that he's like the guy who pimped her out when she was a kid, when she obviously needed to do that to survive or whatever. And he has got this hold on her that is so interesting. It is completely psychological. I mean, he doesn't look like anything. He doesn't have a job. He never has any money. He never, not that those things are prerequisites for a relationship at all. We're Geminis. We don't give a shit. We're just like, I love you. You're beautiful. Let's go. Oh, you don't have a job. You don't even live here. That's okay. We'll figure it out. No, it's not that. It's just that it's to illustrate that he's got, like, where she's got everything figured out. Excuse me. He's got nothing figured out. I mean, not a thing. Like, he can't keep anything together. He's just like this complete degenerate, right? And so what does Ginger, Sharon Stone, what does she do? She keeps giving him money. She keeps emotionally succumbing to pathetic quality of it all. She feels sorry for him, which is so insulting to do to anyone. But she does. She feels sorry for him. And she feels sorry for the part of her that had to live through a person like him, go through that. And it is a way for her to keep her connection to that very meager and desperate beginning. And I don't think she realizes any of this. I mean, Sharon Stone is a fantastic actor and deserved the Golden Globe for that. And I love that when she won, she was like, well, nobody expected this, you know, because everyone had just treated her like trash in Hollywood after Basic Instinct, because she was such a sex symbol in the movie, right? That she wasn't really taken seriously, although Basic Instinct is also phenomenally well acted. So, you know, just because she's so pretty. And so, at every turn where Ginger is approaching what would be, and here's where it gets a little personal, okay? At every turn where Ginger is approaching a leveling up, and she is about to reach the next stage of her life, of her womanhood, of her marriage, of her, you know, obligations as a mother, every time that opportunity arises, Lester is sort of there to steal all the energy and joy out of that moment, out of that ascension, out of that choice, because he drags her back to her roots, but more importantly to his inadequacy. And she is well aware of his inadequacy and is doubly loyal to him and even more attached to him because of it. Are you feeling what I'm feeling? It's uncomfortable, right? Because we've had this energy in our life for years now that is a Lester Diamond. And you can watch Casino as just a study of Ginger. I mean, yeah, Sam Rothstein, he's great. You know, Joe Pesci's character, like Nikki, full disclosure, my nickname in my household is Nikki from Casino. My brothers call me Nikki. That's how bad it is. Anyway, all of those characters are great, but really they're reflective of what's going on internally with this woman who, by all Western accounts, by all financial accounts, by all accounts, should be sitting at the top of the heap of things, and yet is so obsessively pitying of this character that she is robbed of any opportunity to move forward. She is robbed of having a happy marriage. She is robbed of the ability to be a good mother. She is robbed of the ability to be addiction-free, because every time she is able to provide for him in some way financially, there is that high, and he feeds that by, you know, kind of wanting her to be the center of his, you know, existence. And then when she can't, or when she's not allowed to feed that high, for whatever reason, there is that dip in mood and kind of devolving into addiction, sadness, depression, self-sabotage, you know, all of that. So I ask you, as I pick up these cards, who is your Lester Diamond? We are obviously Ginger in this scenario. But who's your Lester? When you have everything good staring you in the face and you know Aries season is going to be great for you, who's calling you on the phone at your wedding and asking you where you are? You know, he does this thing. There's a card down here that fell. Oh, 2 cards. Excuse me. There's this thing that he does where he goes, Where are you? You're not here. Where are you? And she's like, I'm here. I'm right here. And he's like, no, where are you? It's all this sort of, psychological manipulation. It's all designed to make her feel like no one else understands her except him. When really he's the one causing the neuroses. And of course, so therefore he is the only one that can understand them. Not because he's so great, but because he's the one that, installed the buttons. So the first two cards that fell on the ground here are the Death card and the Page of Wands. There is very little room between this table and me, so for the cards to actually fall off the table, it's because they want to fall down. It's because they're like, Geronimo, I'm out. So Gemini, April, the Death card and the Page of Wands. Take a good look. Rebirth. And all the messages and glad tidings and fire that will come with Aries season once we undergo that rebirth. You know what that rebirth is about, right? It's what I was just talking about. It's about getting rid of Lester. You can watch that movie as just a movie about Ginger and be like, why is she letting this one idiot who doesn't even care about her and is obviously using her, why is she letting that ruin her life? How is her life not worth more than that? She's got everything else. The Chariot, the Cancer card. So let's get the obvious out of the way. If you're dealing with a Cancer, they're coming up pretty strong this month. They were coming up as the King of Cups last month, so I knew they'd be around. But they're also coming up here next to the Page of Wands. And the easiest way for me to put this is that it's a Cancer who's playing games. They're texting you but not texting you. You don't know if they're into you or not. And they're being very come and go with you and vague. And the way that I would deal with that is to pull back. I think the Death card is a great card to start with. I think that it means that we are in a period of rebirth and renewal. And the best thing to do when you're going through that and you're highly impressionable and imprintable is to be alone. It's not the funnest thing, but would you rather be alone in the summer when everything's going to be super fun? Or would you rather be alone now? And prep. And so when you are out there having super fun, it's not with some Cancer who's playing, games with your feelings. And if that Death card is a Scorpio, then they're coming up first in your reading, right at the onset of your reading. And they're making a pretty, strong case for themselves. And then the Devil card. So 3 major arcana out of 4 cards, Death, the Chariot, and the Devil. The Devil card here coming up as obviously a Capricorn, but also the Saturn-Mars thing that's going on here is going to be very, very interesting. Saturn-Mars for us, although it will be super hard for most of the people that you know, Saturn-Mars for us will be when you're in a room with 2 people who have really, really strong opinions and they're just going at it with each other, and then there's one of us sitting in the room that's just watching them and laughing. I always laugh when people get into really strong arguments with each other about dumb shit. I'm always and they always get mad. They're like, why are you laughing? Because y'all are stupid. The only things that I could possibly ever get worked up about are, people being wrong about, fluid dynamics or something. And they wouldn't be because, you'd have to know what it is first. So, and if you knew what it was, then you wouldn't be wrong about it. So what's there to fight about? Whenever people start fighting about stuff, I'm just kind of or when people start raising their voices and being rude to people in front of other people, all of that stuff, I'm always appalled to the bone. Wow, are you really doing that right now? That's so offensive. That's so appalling. I often feel I should just crawl under a rock and disappear when people start acting like that. And that is that sort of devolved Gemini that does stuff like that. That's that Lester Diamond Gemini. So what came up and fell on the floor is the Sun in reverse. So now we have 5 cards, 4 of which are major arcana. So it is that Lester Diamond, addicted to a Lester Diamond type of Gemini who will behave that way, who will make those mistakes. And we have, in our own way, all of us had a luster diamond for the past few years, no? These cards coming up now, especially the Sun in reverse with the Devil, as a way of affirming that if we choose to do the productive and move forward Capricorn thing right now, it may not seem right away like it will be beneficial for us, but nonetheless, whether the Sun is, you know, right side up or upside down, doesn't matter. It's still the Sun, right? Camera froze. So let's pick some outcome cards, and then I'll show you the cards and we can look at them together and you can have a little visual, and we'll go through it like a story. But the Devil card comes up here also as that same luster diamond individual. It's the person in your life that has become almost a vice. It's the person that you need to get rid of, that you needed to get rid of, that we've been trying to get rid of for, I don't know, years now. And now, all of a sudden in April, they're just gone. And so the Sun is in reverse because it is a great thing that's happened, but you're not going to see it that way, right? You don't see it that way. Here we go. Page of Swords and 3 of Cups. It is time to celebrate. It is time to leave this stuff behind and move into a much lighter Ginger when she's married to Sam and not talking to Lester anymore kind of energy. We need to leave these characters behind so we can have a little happiness in our lives, because otherwise we're going to get sucked into their drama, and even when things are really good, they're going to seem like they're not. And this is not our nature. A lot of people can deal with this sort of energy. We are not like that. We're very lighthearted and we like to have fun and we like to be happy. Right? Okay, let's look. So you see, I'm just trying to figure out how they were. There we go. So you see here, let's read it like a story. Okay. I can't tell if it's like a good enough view for you guys. Okay, good. All right, let's read it like a story. So first, there is the rebirth. So right at the end of March and the beginning of April, you have a sense with the moon events of being torn apart. But it's the new you being torn from the old skin, the process of shedding. As you are going through this process of shedding, you will start to receive many, many messages because that process is very attractive. Okay, it calls a lot to itself because it's new and it wants to interact. It will cause interaction. That interaction will bring you the attentions of a Cancer, a Scorpio, a Capricorn, a Leo, I would be careful there, and another air sign who is involved with somebody else already. In terms of them being road signs, the Death card here pointing to the rebirth that we're talking about and how to embrace it. And embracing it has everything to do with communicating it. So communicate to the people around you as you're going through this if you need your time alone. Or communicate to them why you're being withdrawn or why you're being a bit hard, because you are going through something. You are shedding your skin. It is time for the spring. And it is time for our season. So communicate that to people so they understand why you're being reclusive. Don't be like a Scorpio about it. The Chariot being the next road sign. Your destiny and what you're doing right now with your life is really important. Right now, you need to focus there and you need to be channeling most of the energy in Aries season into that aspect of your life. Of course, that's difficult when you have the Luster Diamond archetype nagging you all the time and making everything, even the brightest, sunniest days, look sad. So it's difficult to follow your path and follow your purpose when you're constantly being impeded by this sort of negativity. However, you are still advised to put most of your energy into this. Notice this, your purpose, your life path comes way before your destiny, comes way before this other person. So after you've done that, you've allotted the appropriate amount of time, and then you have time left over, can you deal with this situation? Sure, you can, but you have many situations here to deal with, Gemini. I would say deal with the earth sign, but understand that they have really shown themselves for what they are, and that the sun is never going to quite shine on them the way it shines on you. So do what you want with that. I would suggest find yourself someone luckier who, the sun is right side up with them too, and perhaps doesn't show up as this archetype. Just a thought. And then Page of Swords and Three of Cups. So as far as the other person in your life, Gemini, who here is coming up as the Page of Swords, the air sign, that air sign is for reals, not telling you everything, and it will cause enormous conflict between you. I would put this air sign on ice. The way I would deal with this card is, if this is an air sign that you're dealing with, I would put them on ice until you figure out what the Three of Cups situation is. If there's no air sign in your life in terms of a romantic relationship, and this is a business situation, then I would be very careful about their habits and what they indulge in, because there's something here that you don't know yet. If neither of those things resonate for you, then this really just is about you needing to have a good time and be outside of the person-on-person structure. This is something that has nothing to do with relationships. This is then a broader thing of you needing to be out in a communal environment and having fun. And perhaps that is what you need when you've been dealing with an energy that's so oppressive and really does even make the sunniest days seem quite bleak, and is quite argumentative as well, right? So this is an energy, the Five of Wands, that's coming in, but we don't necessarily need to embrace it. We can, the number 3 arcana, the Empress, we can instead embrace our larger identity and self-image and be magnanimous and not reduce ourselves to the pettiness of this Five of Wands. If we're able to do that, it just propels us further in terms of career. And in the extended, we'll look at what... Are you kidding? First the Knight of Pentacles, then the Page. Yeah, and then the Magician, yeah. So we'll look at that in the extended, but the next road sign here being the Sun. So the Sun in reverse is about the road being right, but you're walking the wrong way on it. So what I would suggest for April is look at the road you're on, take a very good look, because you may have to turn around. And with Mercury retrograde coming up, it is a good time to turn around. You may need to turn around and take, a left somewhere and get back on the path. Because what this character, what this Luster Diamond individual has the ability to do is to muddle your senses to the point where you can't tell where this path lies. And right now you have a clear indication of where it is because you're going through this very clearing process. Don't let this energy come back in and muddle that up. Instead, if you move forward right now, the chances of success in any situation with a water sign become very, very possible. Success financially and socially for you is very possible right now. The only thing that you have to do to bring that sort of abundance, the Empress abundance, into your life right now is to remain the clearest, purest, most childish version of yourself. To not indulge in that devolved Gemini sort of behavior. To not let yourself become weighed down with the problems and thoughts and behaviors of this Luster Diamond individual. All right, to remain the ginger that Sam falls in love with, the bright, glittering, can work a room, could be president if she wanted to individual. That's where we need to remain. Light, confident, airy, tied down to nothing. It does very much seem like I'm telling you that right now is just not a good time to be looking for a relationship or to get into a relationship, which is ironic considering the placements. It's like, it's a time where you're really going to meet a lot of people. You're going to meet a Scorpio, you're going to meet a Cancer, you're going to meet a Capricorn, you're going to meet a Leo, you're going to meet, you might meet people of the same gender as you who are really into you as well. It's all up to you what you want to do with that. So why am I saying be this clear, almost flighty, non-committal version of yourself? Because that's what we're best at being, and we want to put our best foot forward when we have all this coming at us. We don't want to be in commitment mode. We want as much of this attention as we can get, and then we'll make up our minds when it's time. Right now, float along with this. And also, if you're holding too tight, let me tell you right now, that thing that you're holding onto is going to slip right out of your hands. Let it go. You don't need this. That's a mess. You don't need that. Your blessings are yours regardless of who stands in the way or doesn't. That's not how blessings work. No one can block that stuff from you but you. And it looks here like you are very much in the mood to not only embrace your blessings but continue to create them and to be more and more and more productive. So what I would say is, instead of expending that energy on petty behavior with someone who can never see the brighter side of things and indulges in things that you still find very questionable, move instead into a period where you can't even begin to imagine a reality where that would be possible for you. That just can't happen to you. People like that just don't even come near you. They don't dare. Because you're not giving off a vibe that would ever make anyone think that you have a Lester Diamond type situation going on in your back pocket. Now, if you are dealing with a Cancer and things have ended with them, there is a possibility that you guys are still communicating, and that communication is quite brutal and bad for you, so be careful. All right, in the extended, we'll take a better look at the Cancer. We'll take a look at the communication between the two of you, but also whatever is going on here. We'll take a look at the Scorpio and the Capricorn and the Leo. And then for the Empress, we'll take a look at career, and we'll do a new shuffle for mid-April into May. All right, the extendeds are available on my website. You just go to ambercon.com and click extended readings, and they're all there. You can buy them, you can stream them, you can rent them, you can download them. It's PayPal and every other form of like credit card, whatever you have or whatever you want to use. And then there will be Eventbrite links for the April 8th event in New York City and the April 6th event in Atlanta, which is new. Yeah, and I'll put a link down below to pre-order my book as well. That should be out in a few months, inshallah. So looking forward to that. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the response to the onesie video last month. I loved it. It's exactly what I needed. You guys help me all the time. I'm going to get straight into this extended, and I'll see you guys there. Bye.